I have to admit. However, yes, it is working. Well, that is good news. I am happy about that. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to hopefully what is going to be a less awkward cast going forward. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's do it. Well then, in we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a best of one, which is always scary. Best of ones are the kind of situation where teams really, they tend to... There's really two kinds of situations for best of one, I think. With best of ones, teams either go all in. They commit super hard to the idea of just saying, we're gonna surprise them, catch them off guard, and just get our free win that way. Or they go the exact opposite direction and say, we are going to be playing safe cookie cutter builds. We're going to be playing that what we are used to. We're not trying anything crazy here, because crazy right now is just gonna lose us the match. We see Night Stalker being banned out, instant response with the Batch Rider. That fast Batch Rider ban tells me that Mindseyes probably just has some bad experience playing against that hero, which is understandable. Batch Rider definitely one of the strongest heroes given the right circumstance, right? That's always the thing. A Batch Rider can be absolutely game-breaking. He can win a game in a heartbeat. Admittedly, he can also be shut down sometimes, right? I'm not saying he's the strongest hero overall, but sometimes he hurts. Darkseer coming out as a ban, and the Earthshaker. A little bit more unusual there. I would actually argue that 3 of these bans aren't the most common first bans, right? Night Stalker, definitely a hero we see there quite often. But Earthshaker, Batrider, and Darkseer, while definitely not rare or uncommon, I wouldn't argue are the most conventional first bans. Clockwork coming out for Midas Club Elite. A nice strong hero, a hero with actually an insane win rate. I was recently looking at the hero win rates across professional games over the past month, and Clockwork is sitting at a solid 60% with a very large sample size, far and beyond the highest win rate. Even if we consider the sample size, even if we consider like heroes that had a smaller sample size. But yeah, Clockwork is just so good if it comes to that. He's actually probably one of the most underrated heroes at the moment. Well, Midas Club Elite disagrees. They don't underrate this hero whatsoever, and they pick him up right away. Disruptor and Sand King coming out in response to his super solid heroes. I think Sand King is currently probably the most solid hero in the game, where he's not overwhelmingly powerful, but he's also just one of those picks that will always perform well and always be solid in really any given lineup. And sometimes he can become a little bit overwhelming. Disruptor as well, and then Witch Doctor, just 2 nice, easy supports. Currently, neither team is giving away anything really in this early phase. I think Mindseyes wants to consider banning out Shadow Fiend or picking up Shadow Fiend themselves in that first pick after the second banning stage. Just because Shadow Fiend and Clockwork is such a powerful early game combination, you go ahead and get those souls going on the Shadow Fiend, puts him ahead very far in the early game, really lets him snowball from there. And that's what Shadow Fiend does well, right? He snowballs well. So you want to really prevent that from the very get-go. And sometimes that's difficult, and especially if you're going up against a Clockwork. Death Prophet being banned out, that again tells me that Shadow Fiend is definitely on the table. Shadow Fiend doesn't do incredibly well against Death Prophet. Enigma being banned out instead. So Mindseyes is willing to risk it. Lina gonna be taken out. Yeah, I'll be honest. This definitely is looking like a good, solid Shadow Fiend pick here, right? Like strong mid-core heroes being taken out of the pool. There's no Venomancer, or admittedly isn't great against Shadow Fiend, but no Lina, no Death Prophet, right? Actually, pretty nice situation for that pickup. Tusk coming out. So Tusk I like against a potential pick like that. You know, let's say Mindseyes is saying, oh, you know, like they gotta be aware of this potential Shadow Fiend, right? And so maybe they're saying, you know what, we're gonna gank him, right? They can pick him, they can do all they want, but we're going to gank him, and we're going to gank him a lot. And so Tusk coming out, a hero that can definitely gank, a hero that can definitely shut a hero like Shadow Fiend down. And just in the same way that Shadow Fiend is one of the best snowballers in the game, he can also fall behind pretty easily. And once he's behind, he doesn't do well anymore. Dear. Sorry, I got a new message. Here we've got the COD League Season 5. There's more information about the cup here, which is nice. Sadly, I'm currently already in the thing. Makes it a bit difficult for me to read. Underlord coming out from Midas Club Elite. A little bit of a different route, I would argue. And a very powerful hero. I love Underlord. Him in combination with Clockwork and Witch Doctor is actually going to make Midas Club Elite very difficult to kill here. They have a lot of defensive abilities, right? The healing, the power cocks, and then of course the teleport home, as well as the Pit of Malice. Makes it difficult to catch Midas Club Elite at any moment, which is actually interesting because Tusk, Sand King, Disruptor, those are heroes that try to catch people. So we'll have this little game of cat and mouse, I suppose, you know, a little game of catch. So, last pick for the second picking stage coming up for Mindseyes here. We'll see who that is going to be. Lots on the table. We're definitely still looking for the cores though, right? They want their mid lane, they want their safe lane. Off lane is covered. It's probably going to be the Sand King, right? Disruptor will be the safe lane support. And then with Tusk, we have the roaming support. Pretty standard lineup these days. There will be a Queen of Pain, so we'll get the mid lane first. Midas Club Elite in a similar situation. Although, admittedly, I'm not quite sure what that Underlord is up to, right? It could be a support Underlord, which isn't crazy. Could be a support Clockwork, which is a bit more crazy, but definitely not unheard of. Witch Doctor will clearly be the lane support, so I don't know. Like, I expect either Underlord or Clockwork to go offline, then admittedly, it could be like something like a safe lane Underlord or even a mid Underlord. Mid Underlord is actually pretty good. You have the Rain of Fire, which pushes down the lane very easily, allows you to apply a lot of pressure without ever really having to be in the lane. And then you can go for an early hand of Midas into Radiance, and then with the 12% spell amp talent, you can end up dealing a lot of damage. There's the Shadow Fiend though, as I mentioned earlier, very powerful pick here. Will end up being the choice from Midas Club Elite. I'm a bit surprised that they decided to only pick him up this late, right? I would have expected it right after the Tusk if they were going to be okay with going up against that Tusk as a Shadow Fiend. But I guess they just wanted to scout out what they're going up against. Queen of Pain against Shadow Fiend is a very doable matchup. For both heroes, actually. I think it's one of the more even matchups in the mid lane. It's definitely something where either hero can succeed. If there is somebody that I would give an edge to, it would be the Queen of Pain, but it's like 51 to 49, right? It's very minor, negligible. Good to see the Shadow Fiend come out, though. Strong hero, powerful, will do a lot of damage, works well with the Clockwork. Not sure about the Underlord there, like those two heroes I don't really think have a crazy amount of synergy. But then again, I'm not sure what the Underlord will be doing exactly, right? Like it could still be something like a safe lane Underlord. I know that sounds crazy, but honestly, I don't even think it's that bad. I mean, Radiance is so good on the guy. You can go for Aghanim's even, which I think is a nice, strong, solid option. I feel Underlord is a hero that is underexplored. Get it? I think Underlord is a hero that definitely has potential that hasn't been properly used yet. And maybe Midas has an idea there. It could be one of those things where it's a risky all-in strategy. You know, remember where I said very early on that teams in these best of one games like to either go all in with something crazy or they just stick to the really solid, safe stuff that doesn't really have a lot of risk involved. Midas Club currently are looking at a situation where that really crazy all-in strategy is definitely on the board. Lycan gonna be banned out by Mindseyes, Sven by Midas Club Elite. And now we'll see how this ends up working out. The last pick will be for the Radiant. Well, the second to last pick. The last pick for the Radiant. I'm sorry. Please excuse me. It's literally past midnight for me. If I make some mistakes like that, just attribute it to me being pretty tired. But, yeah. I'm also only going to be able to do one game probably, unless this one ends up being really short. So, we have 50 seconds left on that timer. We'll see who ends up being the choice. I'm honestly not sure what it could be. I mean, there's a lot they can do here. I expect it to still be a safe lane carry. Right, so what would be on the board? A Lifestealer would be on the board. A Juggernaut would be on the board. Kind of in a similar vein with the magic immunity, right? That's what I was going for with the Lifestealer. Juggernaut brings a similar thing to the table. Definitely helpful against Tusk. A very predictable ganker, right? You can definitely react to Tusk coming in with the snowball. It just takes a little bit. So if you use the spin first, you use the rage first, you end up being fine. Mindseyes are now looking at their last pick. They are clearly looking for the safe lane carry against Midas Club Elite. I think there's a lot you can do there. You may want a Troll Warlord, for example, I think would work pretty well. He fights against the Juggernaut. He can be aggressive against the Shadow Fiend, helps out with the Queen of Pain, helps out with early ganking with his ultimate. Well, not so much early ganking, but, you know, like ganking. It can still definitely help with the ultimate there. That would be an option, right? Otherwise, maybe a Terrorblade wouldn't be too bad, although a bit risky here. Shadow Fiend can't deal a lot of magic damage. We'll see what it is. That last pick is always very difficult to predict because it really can change a lot, and there's always a chance for a big surprise. Only a few seconds left on the clock, and it will be the Faceless Void. And I think it's safe to say that's a bit of a surprise. A safe lane carry Faceless Void is not something I've seen in quite a while, honestly. It's definitely something that is an unconventional pick. Can work. A bit risky here. I'm not sure if I even like it that much. Underlord, of course, has the Pit of Malice. Will zone out the Faceless Void. The ultimate is very good against the Shadow Fiend. Just trapping him and being able to close that distance for basically free is strong. It could still be like an offlane Faceless Void of sorts, trying to challenge the Juggernaut and then just really relying on the Queen of Pain as your position 1. We'll see how it plays out. It is definitely an interesting pick though, and I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Right, I am looking forward to that. Seems we've got some bets going on, currently heavily in favor of Midas Club Elite. People seem to be favoring them, that's for sure. We've got everybody selecting their heroes, and we're about to go into the game. The drafting phase is over, and this is really the meat of the entire situation. This is what we're looking for, this is what we've been waiting for, and let's do it. In a bit. That would have been more climatic if, you know, the game had actually started at that moment. It would have been really cool. Just trust me on that. Alright. In we go. So, on the Radiant side, we've got Midas Club Elite. We've got the Underlord. Oh, my mouse isn't working properly. What's going on there? We've got the Underlord being played by Lelis. Going into the offlane here, picking up some early boots. We have Shadow Fiend being played by Papita. Already going for those early power cogs. Actually, an interesting thing here. Juggernaut makes going for these power cogs a little bit easier because he's got a quicker attack animation than most heroes. But yeah, fucking A. Playing the Juggernaut. We've got Theodicor playing the Clockwork. Papita will be looking at 9 Necromastery souls here. Probably 12. Yeah, it seems they want to go for that last cycle, going into the lane a little bit late then. And then we've got Pekko playing the Witch Doctor. Already roaming around, putting down his wards, as you would expect. On the other side, we've got Formless on the Faceless Void, going into the safe lane, with a pretty standard safe lane build these days. We have Onion on the Tusk, running around, being a Tusk, as you would expect. I'm not sure if my in-game voice is actually working. Let me go ahead and just make sure I have that. No, that should work. Alright. Well, we'll just assume it's working. Onion on the Tusk, going into the mid, blocking that. We've got Fussy Sloth on the Queen of Pain, also going mid, of course. Going to be the actual mid laner. Tusk just being around and being ready to support, maybe even go for an early kill. However, the Radiant side is not having any of that. You see how many heroes they got around here. No, they're not willing to risk anything at all. Shadow Fiend hits really hard at this point. 16 Necromastery Souls online. Yeah, that is the strength of the strategy. You can just see it in action, and this is why I like having a Shadow Fiend and a Clockwork on the same team. It really makes this hero's biggest weakness just kind of mute. Right, Shadow Fiend struggles a lot in the early game simply because he cannot build up those souls. He doesn't deal any damage. It's difficult. But with this, you just completely skip past that struggle. You say, nah, man, I've been working out. It's easy now. And you can see he's getting a lot of last hits. He hits really, really hard already, making it difficult for Fuzzy Sloth to do any of the early zoning that you would be hoping for. At the bottom, you've got Oscar. That's a nice name. Always find it funny when players are named just, a name. Usually it's like Sephiroth Death, XXX, Super Mega Kill. But then other people are just like, hello, I'm Oscar. I am Jim. I find that amusing. We've got Oscar on the Sand King. Going into the off lane. Pretty much what you would expect here, right? It's just what Sand King does these days. He's pretty good at it too. You can go into the off lane, go ahead and get that caustic finale going on, and then if it ends up being the case that the lane is too difficult, you can simply rotate into the jungle and spend quite a bit of time there and be just all right. Queen of Pain going in, getting a little bit of damage and actually dropping rather low. Not willing to commit to anything though, and she will end up being fine. Juggernaut just farming, as you would expect. Go ahead and open up that last hits and denies tab, and you can see Shadow Fiend sitting at 16 last hits. Those 18 denies, by the way, are not actually 18 denies. That would be insane at this point, right? Please don't think that he actually has 18 denies. These denies are him getting those power cogs. Those are counted as denies, which means, in reality, I believe he started with 15 souls. He really only got 4 denies, which is not terrible, but it's also not, Oh, nice! Nicely done! Fuzzy Sloth outplaying the Shadow Fiend. I love how he did that. He set that up beautifully. Making sure he was fighting at the right time, knowing when the creep wave is going to be coming in, and knowing that at this point, the creeps are faster than the Shadow Fiend, especially if he's slowed. Catching him with that, getting the kill, puts him into a really nice spot to come back into this game. Sadly, because he's forced to also go back, he will not be able to really gain an advantage from the lost souls. But nonetheless, it is still just good news to get a kill like that, right? That is absolutely fantastic in every single way possible. So, well done, well done. And I really like how he did it, right? It's just like a good knowledge of the mechanics, a good knowledge of the timing, and using it to his fullest. Up at the top lane, we have the Underlord, just kind of chilling. He is going to be the offlaner here, Clockwork roaming around, being a support. Still level 1, and this is why I'm usually not a huge fan of this. It's just, he's not very effective at the moment. Oh, nice shots, trapping out Lelis. And they get the kill really quick. Not much that our Clockwork can do about that. And again, that's the weakness of the hero in a position like this. He's running around, he doesn't have any damage spell. Getting people out of position with the power cogs without any sort of mobility is basically impossible. It's a difficult situation to be in. Underlord going back into the lane though, using the Firestorm immediately. Firestorm is nice like that. You can just use it to put it on the creep wave. It does a lot of damage. If the enemy hero, especially if that's a melee hero, wants to go there, they'll probably be taking some damage, and that's generally not advisable. It's also not very mana intensive. With just a Soul Ring, you can sustain spamming the Firestorm as much as you want for basically the entire game, and it's really just kind of a good situation to be in. Oh, I'm sorry, we missed the kill in the mid lane. Well, we can imagine how that one went down, right? It's just Tusk coming in, quick snowball, quick ice barrier, and then Queen of Pain finishing him off. Interestingly enough, the Queen of Pain is going for early levels into Shadow Strike. Now, usually, that's something you only do if you want to make absolutely sure that you can one-on-one the enemy mid. Right? That's what the early levels of Shadow Strike do. Because Shadow Strike is not necessarily the best ability if it comes to like big fights, ganks, you know, AoE fights, that kind of stuff. Shadow Strike isn't great there, but it is fantastic if it comes to one-on-one encounters. Or not necessarily one-on-one encounters, but encounters with a single enemy. Then it is much, much more powerful than the Scream of Pain in these early levels. And so having this will definitely just kind of send the message of, hey, I want to kill you, and I want to kill you a lot. And you're not going to get as big as you want. I know you guys went for the Shadowfiend strat and we prepared for that. We were ready. So we're going to deal with it. Got the eye shots coming in. Doesn't quite connect. Still triggers the infused raindrop though. So that's definitely a small victory. At the bottom, the Sand King is currently being sown out by the Juggernaut, as you would expect at this point. Very early on, Sand King can definitely hold his own, but after a little while, it just becomes too much. Right, Juggernaut gets his face boots going on, he has a stout shield, he has the spin available, and it does a lot of damage, right? He's basically always threatening a kill. It is a dangerous situation to be in to go up against a Juggernaut like that. And so Sand King, you can see, is just kind of running around, hoping to maybe get some last hits, but not really committing to it because he knows it's just too risky. Up at the top, Underlord completely disrespecting the dire side, saying, you know what, guys, I'm gonna get those creeps. Activates the ultimate. Glimpse. Is it gonna be timed well? And he gets it. No, he doesn't. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That was a split second right there. Okay, I thought he had it. Well, he did too, but not quite. Oscar, in kind of a bad spot, but he can just Burrow Strike away, and Blocker will not be able to do much there. The Q will let him get a creep kill, which is actually kind of nice. Puts him to level 3. Definitely a good thing for him, even blocking the creep camp. Just for a little bit more of, I don't know, a little bit more of an advantage, I guess. Just a cheeky little play. Play. Ooh, can't speak. Cheeky little play. You know, making sure to block that. Actually, it reminds me of this very, very old school strategy. But this is this was a long time ago in Warcraft 3. But what people used to do for a little while is they left a single creep alive in enemy creep camps. Just so, and always made sure that it's like the weakest one, the one that gives the least money. Just so if they then come into the jungle to clear out the jungle, it's just filled with these really terrible creep camps that don't really give you any reward. Is it a good strategy? Not really. You should probably just take the money. But, you know, it's kind of funny. Oscar, well, he goes ahead and gets a little bit of damage in on the Juggernaut. It's still, this is the power of having a hero with inbuilt magic immunity, right? You can see that fucking A is just not in any danger. He's just not in any trouble. There's not much that can go wrong here for him. He's got magic immunity. How is the Sand King gonna kill him? Well, he's not. Up at the top lane, Witch Doctor hiding in the trees right now. A little bit of a tricky situation, but we've got a bit of a pincer coming out. They're going in, they hit the Burrow Strike and just scream him down. Fuzzyslov on a killing spree. There was not much the Juggernaut could do right there. He didn't stand a chance. He had no information on getting that, you know, on that Queen of Pain coming in. That was just too quick for him to react, and down he goes. Let me go and take a sip of water really quick.
Them Dire buildings are tough as nails for now. Dire's mid-tower could use a little help.
Please excuse me. Oh, the big Chronosphere coming out. Connects on 3. That's actually really nice to get a Shadow Fiend, which is the big important one right here. Oh no, he misses the Burrow Strike. The Shadow Fiend ultimate connects. They lose the Tusk. Sand King goes down as well. That's a double kill for Papita. The big turnaround. Oh, you can't miss those. You can't miss those. Well, that started out pretty damn well for ME, but they were not able to close out on it. And so Midas now gonna go ahead and take down that mid tower. I mean, Papita is not too happy about it, but I'm sure he'll take it, right? It's one of those situations where it's like, I wish I hadn't died, but that is the second best outcome. And so Papita now strolling proudly into this top lane. Gonna go ahead and clear out a few more creeps, because, that felt good getting those kills. If we go ahead and take a quick look at net worth, we can see that, yes, the Shadow Fiend is actually leading after those two. Man, that's crazy. Wow. But you gotta be careful, right? And we all... Look, that looked horrible, right? It's just like, oh, you can't miss that as a Sand King, right? That's not okay. You just can't miss that. But there's a bit of an excuse for it. Oscar was not level 7 yet. Burst Strike does scale on range, right? It does scale on range. And so with the level 7 Burst Strike, I'm sure what he was going for would have worked. But because he didn't have the level 7 Burst Strike, it just wasn't quite in range, right? It was a tiny bit off. That might have been it. Okay, we've got the snowball going forward. They go in on Papita again. They want revenge for this one, but Onion... Well, that's gonna be a sliced and diced onion. Gonna make for a nice meal later. Papita still standing strong. They have the Underlord setting up for the teleport home. And it should be able to do it. Yes, nice hiding right there. They get him, but no! The glimpse connects this time. Baba Ganoush will be able to make sure that Papita does not make it home. That he brings them back. And Shadow Fiend ends up dying, which is good. That is good. Shadow Fiend should never be allowed to snowball. One thing that I kind of like to say about Shadow Fiend is just, if Shadow Fiend is going even with you in terms of farm, you are ahead, right? Shadow Fiend needs to be ahead. It's just how he works inherently. It's a hero that has fantastic farming, but he's not actually that powerful without that much farm, right? He needs those levels, he needs that gold, right? He needs level 20, and probably this Dragon Lance, BKB, something of sorts. If he doesn't get that, he can become really weak, really quick. So making sure to shut him down is good news. They go for the Sand King, get a lot of damage in. Nice power cogs from Fiolicor right there. Fiolicor? Fiolicor. And, well, they end up getting a kill. Not really the most important kill, but it's certainly one we'll take. Alright, and they are still in the lead, using that lead to go ahead and just push down these towers. We're going to see an early Pipe of Insight on the Underlord, which is a nice choice. I like that here. There's a lot of magic damage on the Dire side. We've got the Disruptor. I feel like that's fairly obvious. Of course, Queen of Pain, right? Sand King, Tusk, that's all clear. But actually something a lot of people forget about is that Time Lock deals magic damage. Right? It does 125 magic damage. Which is actually a lot, especially if you consider like how often it faces Void Bashes and how much of an integral part to his damage output that Time Lock actually is. So having a pipe to help out your team against the right click of a Faceless Void, that's pretty neat too. So I'm glad to see that. I think that's definitely the right choice here. Definitely. Shadow Fiend finishes up his Dragon Lance, now going for a BKB. Yet again, one of those things where I feel, yep, definitely making a right call. You gotta be able to survive this stuff, right? That's all Papita needs to be looking for. He needs to be ready for the fight. He needs to be able to really do his thing, click on things, cast his razors, drop an ultimate. And without BKB, that just won't happen. There's so much disable on the other side, so much burst damage. You can't tank that. You just can't. Other than that, we have the Clockwork sitting on nothing, as you would expect. Same for the Witch Doctor, they're just kind of like slowly working away at some items. Juggernaut, of course, the big one, working on his Manta Star, picking up an early Yasha here. Other than that, Aquila as well. So just getting some nice stats, which I appreciate, right? Especially against a team like they are going up against. They have a lot of magical damage, right? A lot of early game power. Right now, this team may be getting close to their... I wouldn't say to their overall peak, but to like an early peak where there's just like so much damage output here. So, even with a Veil of Discord and a Queen of Pain, right? So again, I like having additional survivability. I think that's very important. I like seeing that pipe, the BKB, and even just something as simple as an Aquila and the magic one. That's fucking A saying, I'm gonna try to survive. I need to be ready for this. Faceless Void almost finishes up his Yasha. He's actually a little bit behind, which is unfortunate. Formless definitely needs to be catching up in farm. Sadly, a Faceless Void does have a bit of a worse time farming, right? Usually you don't want to go for face boots on the guy, which makes it a bit more difficult. He doesn't have an ability that is as nice in terms of damage output as, well, in terms of like raw early game damage output as the Juggernaut crit. The lower base attack time helps, of course. He's just a bit weaker early on, and you can see that in his net worth. Tusk, of course, got nothing. Sanking almost got a blink dagger. That's actually really good news. He's doing pretty damn well in that regard. And there are a lot of stacks here. I like seeing that. Ah, that is great. That is actually fantastic. Good job. Good job. That's the kind of stuff you gotta do here. Absolutely. Sanking. He's kind of sneaking around to the sides here. Looking for something. Looking for a way home. That's a bit too risky for him to go in, especially since he doesn't have the blink dagger yet. Pipe is online. Oh, they hook shot in. Glimpse gonna get the clockwork away, but a snowball forward, and they'll just have to sacrifice the Tusk. They know that won't work. He's just a bit weak right now. Midas now pushing ahead, and they want to finish this. I mean, even though Pepita has died 4 times, he's actually leading in net worth, and that's Shadowfiend for you. He does so well in that regard. Omni Slash comes out, doesn't quite kill Oscar, gets him rather low, but the Shrine will get him back to safety. Formless also dropping low, but not quite dead. And so it seems like Midas will simply fall back. Settle on the damage they have done, which is actually quite a bit. The tower has dropped fairly low. Tier 2 dead, of course. Even got a little bit of a kill in there. Underlord going for the armor talent. Actually, oh wait, he's gonna be caught right here, but just drops the ultimate. Glimpse, not in time. Oh, I don't like what Baganush is doing here. So, I'm always a big fan of maxing out the Glimpse as early as possible. Right, and he can't have it maxed yet, but he can have it at level 3. And I think with that level 3, there was actually a chance of getting that kill. Right, Glimpse can counter the Underlord ultimate. Kind of, yeah, difficult like that. Although, funny side note. So, this is how the Underlord could play around Glimpse. He just needs to stand still. I know it sounds weird, right? And sometimes that's of course not a viable option. But if he's at a point where he feels comfortable that he can take all of the damage, and he doesn't want to get glimpsed, glimpse, the little animation to determine, you know, like how long it takes for that person to actually come back to the spot, is actually just based on the distance. So, you know, if Underlord is standing on the same spot for 4 seconds, Glimpse will just be instant. Which means timing it for the ultimate, right? Like timing it for that Underlord teleportation is basically impossible. So yeah, just, I don't know, something I find a little bit interesting. The push continues. Fucking A, activating that spin. Cool thing about the spin, while you're spinning, you can still attack buildings and deal full damage. Yeah. You may ask why, and to you I say, because Dota is a weird game and allows stuff like that. We've got the healing ward coming down, Juggernaut walking forward, Weight of Discord comes out, nice Burrow Strike on 2, they're trying to get the Juggernaut, but the spin was activated in time, Juggernaut is still looking strong, the healing ward in the background, they haven't dealt with it yet. Oh my god, Papita activates the BKB, he gets a kill, Faces Void is trying to continue with the fight, but without Chronosphere. Without anything, they drop the Disruptor ultimate. Burst Strike again on the Underlord, but he's still standing strong. Activates that Magic Wand. The Firestorm comes out. Now going for the Sanking. A Sanking drops. Formless. Forced to retreat out. Lelis activates his ultimate, and home we go. Midas Elite takes a huge victory. Smokes up, goes into Roshan. And just gets out of there. No Roshan? Oh no, they just want to go back in. Well, that's cheeky. No, you gotta go for Roshan there, right? Yeah. Alright, good. That was just... well, I was surprised by that. Like, you go Roshan there, right? Okay, well, they do. Midas now gonna go ahead and start working on that Roshan. Gets quite a bit of damage in already. I mean, there's not going to be a response. That is just going to be the end of it. There's no way ME has anything they can do about this kill. Aegis going to Papita on the Shadow Fiend. I very much like that choice. I think he is obviously still the main target for the Dire side, and he does deal a lot of damage and is important, right? So making sure that he becomes less attractive of a target. Sometimes you gotta play your enemy like that. You know, you gotta see, okay, who do they like going for? Shadow Fiend. Let's go make him tanky, right? Like, fuck. Let's make it so they don't really have that easy of a time killing him. And Sand King is called out. In the meantime, the barracks are just murdered. No response, nothing. They don't have anything ready. Faces Void is trying to backdoor, but he's not even anywhere near a tower. He's just backdooring creeps. Good man, that is called farming and abandoning your team. But with the Sand King dead, they have no response. The lead just continues to increase, and it's not even just about the net worth, right? Like, that doesn't even matter so much. It's about fighting potential. And right now, the Dire side can't fight. They just don't have anything that allows them to actually fight. And that's a problem. Now, you may ask, okay, well, you're painting this really terrible picture where the game is just over. I don't mean to do that, right? I'm just looking at the situation and telling you how I think it is. But I don't think the game is over, because the game is not over until the throne is down. And a 10k net worth lead, there have been bigger comebacks than that. There have been bigger comebacks than that today. Somewhere, I'm sure. Not in like a pro game, probably. Probably, I don't know. Okay, anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going nowhere with this. My point is, what do they need to do to come back into this? Well, first of all, they need a big Chronosphere. How do we get a big Chronosphere? Well, Blink Dagger might be a way to do that. Right. I understand Blink Dagger is not necessarily the most attractive option if you feel like you don't deal enough damage. But I don't think the Manta Star will let the Void deal enough damage. That is just not the damage. Like, it's just not enough damage either. It's a good start. And it's fine if he wants to finish it. What I would like to see afterwards, though, is some sort of initiation. Right, be it a Shadow Blade, be it a Blink Dagger. Get an item that creates opportunity. Get an item that allows you to catch them. Currently, you have no way to catch them. Currently, your best bet at a good Chronosphere is them not paying attention. And I feel like at this point, you should have come to realize that no, they are very much paying attention. They are awake. They are very much awake. And relying on them making a mistake is probably not going to get you very far. But if you do get a big Chronosphere, you can stagger it with the Sand King ultimate. You can drop the Queen of Pain. Just sonic waving everything inside of it. Even Disruptor can do a lot of damage. That's your best opportunity. Other than that, what can everybody else do? Honestly, it's limited. It is very much limited. There's still the potential for a big epicenter into a sonic wave, even without a big Chronosphere. Right? That definitely exists. With a team that has as much teamfight potential as ME, there's no denying that at any moment they can turn it around. But it's gonna be difficult. Juggernaut just pushing. Formless jumps in. He drops the Chrono onto Underlord and the Juggernaut. Two interesting targets. They drop the Sonic Wave, dealing a lot of damage. Silence comes out. But fucking A just turns around. He's still alive. He's still looking strong. Witch Doctor in the back drops his ultimate. Does a ton of damage. The only one to stay alive is Fussy Sloth. The Queen of Pain. One hero left standing. It is a best of one. So she's still trying. She's trying to get them out of here. She's trying to get them out of the base. Then she decides, you know what? The creeps are probably all I can get out of here. That's really the only thing I can do. The resurrection. The good news here is ME is so far behind. Their respawn timers aren't that high. I'm not sure if you can call that good news, but well, we'll take it, I suppose. The tower is now being attempted. Underlord even hitting super hard. 205 bonus damage at the moment. Pipe activated. The push continues. Clockwork standing in the front, just zoning them, just keeping them away. The ultimates are down. The teamfight potential is down. Fussy Sloth forced to blink out. Actually gonna be in a snowball, and then down he goes! That's the Queen of Pain. She bites back immediately. She's okay with that. But is it enough? Oh no, still no ultimate available, and now Fussy, he's taking so much damage. Oscar caught out as well. Forced to retreat. Good game is called. 25 minutes. Midas completely overwhelming their opponents. Going back to the shrine again. I actually think that's an interesting strategy right here. And that's gonna be our first match of the night. Midas Club Elite takes it in a very dominant fashion. Going for that Shadow Fiend definitely worked out. And that's just something that we talked about that at the beginning of the draft.